Alright guys, welcome back to the Watson Garage. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to my channel and turn on those bell notifications. That way you'll get my next videos when they first come out. Try to do them every Monday and Tuesday if I possibly can. But anyways, today's video is a little different for you guys, and maybe some of you guys can use some of these techniques. Maybe a project you got around the house, whatever. But me and my wife every year for I guess about the last 4 or 5 years, we have hosted foreign exchange students. This year we have a girl from Norway, and there's another girl in our town that was an exchange student to the same organization that we use. Short story is, this girl, she needed to be moved from that house to another house. Well, this girl's came to our house multiple times. We fell in love with her. She's a real sweet girl, and so when this opportunity came up to move her, me and my wife decided to actually have her come to our house. So I think it was a Sunday we got the actual approval to have her come to our family. But the problem is we didn't have enough room. We have a 3-bedroom house. It's already full. So the only solution me and my wife can come up with is actually build a room in our garage. So we found out Sunday. I woke up Monday, went to Lowe's, and bought every material I could possibly imagine. And I knocked this out in probably about a day and a half when you add it all up. It was a pretty quick project. I was fortunate enough in my garage. I actually had 2 electrical plugs in it, so that kind of solved the electrical issues. I had, so she could have, I was going to put like a little heater in there and an air conditioner, so that solved that problem. There was already a window in the garage, so that I didn't have to add that. So, and I just did 2 simple little walls. I made them 4-foot in increments, so it makes it real nice, easy for plywood and the paneling and anything like that. So if you start doing like real custom sizes, you're end up going and wasting a lot of materials, and it just stalls you. Every time you gotta make a cut, every time you gotta measure, it just takes time. So there's one reason why I got this done pretty quick, and I did most of it by myself. And I have just a little bit of help, but for the most part, I did most of it myself. And but I think this is anything that you guys could use. It don't have to be a room in your garage. You could be doing, a different construction, maybe your house, maybe you're moving a wall for an office or making your bedroom closet bigger, whatever. It's still the same thing. I use general construction layouts like that, 16 inches on center, stuff like that. So it made it really easy, and that's one reason why I got it done so quick. I do appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys can learn something from this. If you got any questions, let me know. Alright guys, here we are. I actually lost a little bit of the front footage of this, but I can walk you through this. What it is, this is just general internal building, what most people build houses. It's 16 inches on center. So you'll see this blue line, the red line, and the orange line. That's 16 foot on center. And why we do that is sheets of plywood are 4 foot by 8 foot. So if you keep them on center, when you lay the sheets down, they actually break perfectly between the boards, and it just makes installation a lot easier when you build and stuff like that. So there's actually a plate where the green line is. There's a 2x4 that runs across the whole bottom, and then right above that on the ceiling there's a board there too. A lot of people will do a double, it's called a double top plate. It just holds the load above it, but since this is kind of like a room in the garage, I didn't really have a load bearing ceiling above it, so I just stuck with the single plate, whatever. But other than that, I kept with general construction right here. I started off on the right where the yellow line begins, and I just worked my way to the left, and I did the same thing on the 8-foot wall, the purple line wall. And right here you can see I'm actually making a corner. What you do, you get 2 2x4s and you put a little pieces of 2x4 in between those. It creates a perfect little gap. And what you're trying to achieve here is when you do this, you actually build your corner out. So when you are putting in your sheetrock or plywood or paneling, whatever you're going to do, the inside wall for say, is it gives you something to nail to. So it's pretty important to do this, because if you don't do this and you sheathe it all up, you have to go in and you have to block it all out and stuff like that. It's just a common practice to do this. A lot of times people will do these on the ground
and they'll build all their corners at one time. But since I only did one corner, and because it was a garage, the entire floor was sloping ever so slightly, I had to custom cut everywhere of the board. Right here you notice I just put a 2x4 down, and what that's going to do is I'm about to lay a sheet of plywood across there, and that gives me the perfect gap off the ground, because it's called OSB board, wafer board. You don't want this stuff to actually lay directly on the ground, because it'll act like a sponge. So I'll lay the 2x4 down. You'll see me here come in a minute with a piece of that plywood, and then I'll lay it on it. Makes it perfectly straight, just like that, and then I can screw it all together, and I'll just end up pulling that board out, and it gives me just a perfect gap, the perfect space underneath it, and just makes it a lot easier. And you can see here, these are perfect sheets of plywood. I did no cutting on these boards, which is one of the reasons why I did an 8x12, because like plywood comes in 4x8. So if you do sections that are 4 foot, like a 12, you can easily divide that in 3, and 8 is easily divided that in 2. So doing that, it made me where I didn't have to do any cuts on my plywood, and I didn't waste any of the plywood. Only plywood that I really wasted was the where the door is, when I cut that out. So it's just a quick way to build stuff real quick. If you have to custom cut every little thing, make all the little cuts, that's where you end up wasting a lot of time. So the 8x12 was a strategic planning on this, just to make it real quick. And here I am again. There's the next sheet of plywood, no cutting at all. It broke perfectly on that one board right next to that door entrance. So it just really speeds up the process, and makes it a lot easier for you guys. Some of you guys may be wondering, how am I doing this so fast? It goes back to that general construction 16 foot on center. Those lines on the plywood, they actually line up perfectly with a 16 foot on center. So I don't have to guesstimate, I don't have to pop lines and try to hit that 2x4. Those lines are just perfect. So it really makes just screwing up together. It's just another one of those things that speeds up the process if you plan out ahead. Okay, here I am doing the door. I had to measure the door. What I do, you measure the door, and I add ½ inch on either side and the top. So these boards, you notice, are shorter than the other boards. I call them cripplers or liners or trimmers, something like that. I can't remember. So I put one on each side, and then ½ inch above what the actual door measures. And then I'll actually build a header. That's a header. What that is, that's 2 2x4s with a piece of ½ inch wafer board in between. Gives it the perfect space. And then you continue it on with my 16 foot on center. I'll add another board right above it. I probably could have skipped that, but I just continued on with the general layout of the wall and did that. And then here I am. I actually got insulation, so I'm going to insulate this entire wall. These are 16 foot walls, so the insulation comes out perfectly for 16 foot walls. So here's another process that makes it really, really easy. You just unroll it, cut it, and staple, and you just do this over and over. So it just kind of goes back to the planning ahead, and the 16 foot on center is definitely a way to go. It speeds up every process. Speed up the wafer board on the outside. It speeds up putting all this insulation in really, really quick. It's going to speed up putting the paint on the inside. screwing everything together because those lines on the wafer board are perfectly for those 16 watt centers, so it just really makes it easier. So I had a lot of people ask me, like, how did you build this room so quick? It's these little tricks that'll save you so much time. Also, a couple days later, I actually did insulate the ceiling, and you have to make sure that the ceiling is actually 16 foot on center. Some ceilings, they actually don't abide by the 16 foot. Sometimes they'll go 2 foot. Or so you need to make sure, go up in your attic if you want to insulate like I did, to make sure that it's 16 foot on center. I was lucky it was 16 foot on center, so I had to buy, I just used the exact same insulation that I used for these walls. I put in the attic. So if you do got a different, they make insulation for 16 and 2 foot and all that stuff. You just got to make sure you have the right insulation for those spacings. It's just something you just got to plan ahead for. And this is just some paneling I actually found at Lowe's. I've never seen this stuff before. I think it's like a new product. It's like a rustic, it looks like pallet wood, what it looks like. So I really like the look of it, but the second reason I liked it too is because normally I use white beadboard paneling, and I use staples for the air gun, and you have to come back and cover every little hole. But with this stuff being such like a rustic little hit to it, I could actually just staple it and the staples disappear. And then right here I'm actually marking all the top of the studs, and I'll come back and I'll do the floor as well. So this makes it just a little easier. When I'm putting the panel on top of it, I can easily look up or down and actually know where the stud is, and it just speeds the process up a little bit.
Alright guys, well, day 2. I did a lot of stuff yesterday. I guess my video actually clipped out a little bit of it. But it was kind of like a rush project. I had to get this done within a certain amount of time, so I did the best filming I can. But this is what the outside of it, it's probably a crappy shot. I just kind of closed in my garage over here. I put a door over here. And you can see over here, here's all the junk, blah, blah, blah. So on the outside, it looks kind of crappy, honestly. Looks like a tool room or something like that. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm getting real close. So here's the door, a simple little door in here. And then what I did, I came in here and I built this. You see? Like that. There's the door. So I just built this little workbench. Went over across here. I had some extra pieces of paneling. I just put it together, and then underneath it, you know, it's just 2x4s, stuff like that. And here, and she needed just a small closet. I asked her, so what I did, I just built like a double layer closet. So she got there and there, and then we're gonna get some dressers over here. or maybe over here. We have a little bit of room over here. I built her a bed, a custom bed, because there is a little step up right there. So I'm going to, I got the bed going out here. It's stained up right now. Out here. And see, I got it going out here. I built her I say custom bed. It's not really, I mean, it's just a bed. I guess it's custom by me, but whatever. That's what it is. So let's just get this going. All right, guys, here she is. Just finished her up. See what you guys think. So this is a garage. You know, a lot of people might think, oh, you're building a room in a garage. Well, here it is. I made a nice little desk, little door. She's got that. She's got a nice little mirror, a little light, a little thing up here. And then I added a little light. I didn't have a light switch on here, so what I did, I just got one like this in, and I'll turn it on and it gets plenty of light in this room. And there's her little bed. I actually made that bed. That bed's made out of just regular standard 2x4s, and I just got some stain and stained it up, let it sit outside, and got pretty good. I like it. But that's it. What do you guys think? I think it came out pretty good. My wife loves it, so I guess that's all that mattered. And then the flooring. The floor is just a rug. I went to Marshall's and got a rug, and it wasn't exactly big enough for this room. It's really hard to find an 8x12, which is what this room is, 8x12. So this is an 8x10. So in that whole section over there was a 2 foot off. So what I did, I had extra flooring from one of our other houses there. So I just tucked it in there, blends right in. And then my dad had some extra little cedar. That's what I trimmed the whole room out of, is that little cedar. And then in this little closet, these are just curtains like for your window. And I just did like a little dowel rod up there. And then what I did was, the way you can slide it back and forth. And then I just did 2 little clothes rods. She don't have a lot of clothes anyway, so this was kind of perfect. So she can, you know, she has 2 rods, a thing, a little place for her shoes. I gotta finish that little piece. That's one less. I guess that's probably literally the last thing done in this room. Like that, and then, you know, she can look at this. She can kind of cover it, kind of keep her clothes in there. All right, guys. Well, I guess, what do you guys think about it? Think it's okay for a garage room? All right. Well, I do appreciate it. Until next time, take care, guys.